Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for clicking on the video. Today's video is on probable cause and reasonable suspicion. The reason I said twice on probable cause is because there's probable cause to pull cars over and there's probable cause to arrest. So those are two different things. And then we're going to talk a little bit about reasons to pull cars over. We're going to talk about searches. And so this is mainly for the principles and procedures and legal aspects of evidence class, and a little bit for the criminal investigation class. So pay attention. Some of you are still confused as to when police officers can arrest, detain, contact, speak with, all of those things. And so in the next few minutes, I'm going to kind of teach you about how that works. So first of all, you're on patrol and you want to speak with someone. You see somebody walking down the sidewalk and you want to have a conversation with them. That's called a consensual encounter. And for a consensual encounter, you're in uniform, you're in your patrol car, you're on patrol. You don't need anything for a consensual encounter. You basically come up, you say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? The person has an option to say yes, they can talk to you, or they can say no, I don't want to talk to you, and keep walking. If they keep walking, there's absolutely nothing you can do unless they commit a violation in front of you. They throw down a cigarette butt, they throw a piece of garbage on the ground, they litter, they jaywalk across the road in front of cars. Those are all reasons to make a stop on that person. And a lot of times they do. A lot of times they tell the cops, I don't want to talk to you, and then they jump in front of traffic. And now you have an actual stop because they committed a violation. So anyway, first thing you have to remember, consensual encounters. What do you need for a consensual encounter? You don't need anything. Now, you still have to obviously follow officer safety. How do you approach the person? How do you stand? How do you communicate with them? Watch their hands, and how you speak to them. It will determine if they want to talk to you or not. So don't speak too aggressive. Just tell them you have a couple questions. Maybe you want to find out where they're going, where they're coming from, that kind of stuff, right? So consensual encounter, you don't need anything. The person's free to walk away. They're not under arrest, and you're not supposed to use your red lights or tell them to stop or any kind of command, because if they do, then that becomes what's called a detention. So anyway, remember that. Consensual encounter, don't need anything. Now, the next thing is a detention, the next level up on the higher scale. So you're on patrol and you hear over the radio they had a burglary. Some people wearing dark clothing broke into a commercial business, and they were last seen walking this direction in this area, and blah, blah, blah. So now you're on patrol, and you see people matching the description of the suspects, and now you're going to make a contact, but it's basically a stop based on reasonable suspicion. So what do you need for this detention? Your answer, reasonable suspicion. And reasonable suspicion of what? Well, reasonable suspicion that crime is afoot. Crime is afoot, like crime is happening, and that these people or this person that you're about to stop is possibly, you're just suspecting, possibly connected to that crime. So now you have a detention. And so what do you need? Reasonable suspicion. Now you start talking to them, and you're going to do some kind of a interrogation. Again, they're not in custody, but they are detained. They are not free to leave. So you ask them where they're coming from, where are they going, why are they wearing dark clothes, why do they have, blue spray paint on their hands, why is their face all blacked out, whatever, whatever burglar people do, thieves at nighttime, they do all kinds of interesting things. And if they're carrying a backpack, you can even ask, hey, what's in the backpack? They don't have to tell you what's in the backpack because you don't have probable cause to get in the backpack, unless you suspect there's weapons in the backpack, and then you can kind of push the backpack to the side. We'll get to the search in a minute. So anyway, so now you have a detention. And what do you need? Again, I'm repeating it on purpose so that you guys get this. You need reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion of what? That crime is afoot, crime is happening, and that this person is somehow connected to that crime. Again, you're not proving this in a court of law, you're just suspecting. It's a suspicion on your part, but you have reasonable suspicion based on the fact that this person matches the description of suspects in a burglary call that just took place in your beat. Okay, so that's the second level. The third level is probable cause. You need probable cause to make an arrest. So from this detention that I just mentioned about the burglary suspects, if you start talking to them and say, for example, the other officer's over there on the crime scene location, and he puts it all over the radio that the suspects spray painted blue paint, graffiti on the way out on the wall, fresh paint before they left. So he asked me to check their hands, and these people have blue spray paint on their fingers, under their fingernails, and also that when they cut through one of the windows, it had some white lead paint. And so see if on their black clothing they have possibly pieces of white paint. And so I examine the person that I have detained's clothing, and I find speckles of white paint. So those two pieces that I just described, the blue paint on their fingernails and fingers, especially the trigger finger to spray paint, spray can, is enough probable cause for me to place them under arrest for commercial burglary. Why? Because a peace officer in California can make an arrest for a felony if he or she has probable cause that the felony occurred. Whether or not it occurred, the law is very broad on this, and you believe this person that you're about to arrest committed that felony. So that I am authorized as a peace officer to make an arrest. So then I place him under arrest. Now, once I place him under arrest, incident to arrest, I can search their person. I can search their pockets. I can search their waist. I can search their ankles. I can search the backpack they were carrying as part of incident to arrest, to do an inventory on that backpack. And anything that I find as part of that incident to arrest search is going to be admissible in court, because the search was following the probable cause, and I made the arrest, and now following the arrest, incident to arrest, which is one of the exceptions to the warrant requirement, I can then search their persons, right? So I'm going to pause now. I'm going to switch topics. Earlier in this video, I told you that there's two probable cause. We call it PC, right? PC. So the first one, probable cause, that we use a lot in law enforcement is probable cause to pull over a car. So do you have PC to pull over a car? And I'm going to go down the list of things that offer a peace officer probable cause. So if the person is speeding, right, they're exceeding the speed limit law, that's probable cause. That's PC to pull them over. Now remember, a traffic stop is not an arrest. It's higher than a detention. It's right there in the middle between a detention and an arrest. The person is not free to leave, but they're not in custody neither. So you're going to pull them over to give them a citation, also called a notice to appear. And yes, I'm going fast, but I don't want to put you to sleep, so pay attention. Anyway, so PC in this case is probable cause to pull over a car. You can't just pull over a car without probable cause. So speeding, running a stop sign, bald tires, taillight out, brake light out, no using a turn signal, expired registration, stuff hanging from the rearview mirror inside the car, tinted windows. Tinted windows. What? You have tinted windows on your car? In the front, and the windshield. That's illegal. And you're going to say, but what about the 30%? No, look up, read it. 26708 of the California Vehicle Code. In California, you cannot have tint on the front side windows. And I'm not here to, lecture you. I'm just telling you probable cause. Reasons why police officers pull over cars. Tinted windows, right? That's a big one, tinted windows. And so, if you've been drinking and you're leaving the bar and you're driving very, very careful, and I see your car and you have tinted side windows, I'm going to use this as probable cause. I'm going to use that as a violation to pull you over. Then I walk up to you, start talking to you, and I can smell alcohol emitting from your breath. Now, I have probable cause to believe you've been driving drunk. I'm going to have you get out of the car. I'm going to do field sobriety tests. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. And I may place you under arrest for suspicion of DUI, driving while intoxicated. So, the big difference on the PC to stop a car, right, to initiate a traffic stop. And then PC to arrest, probable cause to arrest, is what I mentioned earlier. You have to have probable cause to place a person under arrest, probable cause. And so in California, when you book a person into jail, you have to write a probable cause statement. And that probable cause statement will be reviewed by the on-call judge. Whenever they come back on duty, they're going to review all the bookings, and they're going to read the reasons why you put people in jail, right? If they're intoxicated in public, you have all the elements that you're supposed to do. And so this has been a lesson, okay, to recap, and I don't want to keep you any longer than I have. This has been a lesson on reasonable suspicion, consensual encounters, probable cause to arrest, searches incident to arrest, and also probable cause to pull over cars, right? Oh, one more, a big one. No front license plate. Yeah, no front license plate. You can get pulled over for that. Oh, but Brian, I bought the car like this. Shut up. I'm kidding, okay? Don't take it all personal. It doesn't matter if you bought the car like that. I'm telling you what the law is. In California, you have to have a front plate and a back plate. So if you drive around with no front plate and then you get pulled over, don't get all surprised when the officer comes up to you and says, "Hey, I pulled you over for no front plate." And then you're like, but the car, it came like this. What about if you put the plate on the windshield on the inside? It's illegal. Why? The height of the plate. You have to affix the front license plate to the bumper within a certain height according to the vehicle code. You're talking to a guy that loved learning about law, and I read the vehicle code inside out from the front to the back. It's a big old thick book, and so I know these laws. And so, again, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just maybe bragging a little bit, but I just want you to understand, those of you watching this video, maybe some that are not going to go into law enforcement, but those of you, the majority, are going to go into law enforcement, and you need to know this. So have probable cause to pull over a car, and that's your PC to pull over the car. Once you pull over the car, you follow everything according to department policy. You have a right, if you suspect a person's been drunk driving, to order them out of the car to perform field sobriety tests. If you're on patrol, as I mentioned on the call earlier, you're driving at nighttime, you're on the beat, there's a lot of burglaries, a lot of thieves, a lot of burglars ride bicycles with no lights. You can use that as probable cause to pull them over. They don't have a headlight. By the way, it has to be affixed to their front handlebar. It doesn't count if they're just holding it in their hand. It just doesn't work like that. And there's a bunch of other things that I'm not going to mention in this video as reasons why you can pull somebody over on a bicycle legally during the nighttime. And that's usually how we find burglars, thieves, drug dealers, and drug users. So anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. I do hope that if you have any clarification questions, you reach out to me. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Share this with anyone who is going through law school or getting their criminal justice degree, or who just got hired in law enforcement and wants a clarification video on how, when, reasonable suspicion, probable cause to arrest, etc. Thank you for listening. Take great care of yourselves, okay? And reach out with any questions or comments. My biggest gift is to see you guys succeed. I love you guys. Please take care and stay in touch.